Hey everybody, so we are going to have a live stream today about Squid Game season 2, as well as do a little review maybe at the end of Ghetto Gastro Bop Tarts, because I did order them and I did try them just like the pink sauce. I did try them. I don't think I did a review on the pink sauce. I just like tried it and was like, okay, that's nasty, and threw it out. I did the best I could. It was just the fact that I think a lot had to do with the fact that it's like pink. So I'm not sure if my mind was already like, what is this nonsense? You know what I mean? Or if they just didn't know what they were doing. But I don't know. I'm not going to argue about that. I'm doing a little note taking real quick because I don't have that much time. So I didn't have time to do it before I started. Um, so we're gonna do this real quick so I know who I'm talking about. I'm writing down their number that they were in Squid Game and what they're associated with, because there's a lot of names, and if I start rattling names, y'all are gonna have no idea who I'm talking about. But if I say numbers, then you guys are more likely to be like, okay, I remember that person because that was my favorite number person. Unfortunately, with a heavy heart, I must say I'm gonna have to be doing that quite a few times. Um, almost done. This dude. Hmm, okay. Um, I'm almost done. I'm gonna cut this out if I do make a what's it called? A video like separate from this. Let's see, number 149. And if you guys want, you can say who's your favorite in the comment section. I have talked about Squid Game once before, season 1, and I talked about how um, Alice in Borderland was better. The season 1s did not compete with each other, in my opinion, but I do think that Squid Game season 2 made some leeway with this one. Mother, and then who is this, bro? 2 5 spineless. Spineless. Um, number 1 2 4 Thanos friend. Friend. Um, here we go. I knew that person looked familiar. Number 100. Annoying. Once we get to 5, I'll be ready. Usually. I always say 5 minutes or so. 5 to 10. I don't know who that is, bro. And then here we go with this one. 0 cultist. I still don't know the sons. Like, There we go. Okay. And then number one. Okay. So we're ready. We're ready to roll. So, without further ado, we're going to talk about Squid Game season 2 real quick. Um, I'm going to just go through mostly. I didn't know how I was going to do this by looking at their number or looking at the episode, so I'm going to kind of do a little bit of both. So to start with, the first episode is called Bread and Lottery, and it kind of surrounds the salesman. They call him the salesman when I actually felt like he was the recruiter. Like, like I don't know. They call him two different things. They like in the synopsis of the episode, they call him the recruiter, but a lot of people call him the salesman. I'm going to call him the recruiter because that's what I think he is. So basically, um, season 2 takes place like 3 years or so, 2 to 3. I think they said 2 and then they said 3. So I don't know. Okay, so I think it was 3 years from when he did the games, but 2 years from since he's been out of the games, if that makes sense. So it's been a total of 3 years, but 2 years ago he was in the games. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is it's about 3 years. So it's older, everybody's older now. Jihan, number 456, the loser scrub bum who couldn't just get on the airplane, had the worst idea imaginable. He's been collecting weapons which are illegal, I do believe, in Korea and a lot of other places that aren't America. They actually know what gun laws are, and they understand that it helps people. So he literally is illegally, everything's illegal at this point in Squid Game, but like he's straight up just taking guns, and like I don't understand how he's in this pink motel. Pink, usually when they say pink, I've noticed in a lot of Korean dramas, it's like more about, or even J dramas, that they're talking mostly about explicit things when they say pink, but it's still the whole dynamic, the color scheme and everything. I do talk about color. I do mostly talk about numerology, like numbers and what they mean in the first video that I made. If you want to know my opinion about season 1 of Squid Game, link will probably be in the description of this video. If not, you can go on my channel and just type it in and it's there. Very easy to access. I think I also have an Alice in Borderland playlist. So if you want to know my opinion about that, because like I said, season 1 of Squid Game did not compete with season 1 of Alice in Borderland, in my opinion. I do believe that Alice in Borderland was better, even though it took me literally 2 times or 3 times or so to try to watch it because it was just not entertaining to me. The Wolf Game was just, I was out on that because I'm like, bro, we just saw these people. Like, I just saw them and I was done. I'm like, why? And then there was, I'm not even gonna argue, I'm not even gonna talk about it because I already said my piece, and I said my piece in the season 2 of Alice in Borderland video that I did. I said my piece. That's it. I'm done with that. So I'm talking about Squid Game season 2, and I might be talking about season 1, but I might be going back and forth. But we're definitely talking about season 2 right now. Spoiler for everything. Spoiler boiler for everything. So Jihan, like I said, has this dumbest idea in the whole universe. He won the Squid Games. And like I said, I'm not gonna say Amanda is the best, like when it comes to making decisions, but she is also suffering, and she never got any help. She literally had this one-sided relationship with John Kramer. We're talking about Jigsaw right now. But literally this stuff is kind of like, I feel like these are the children of Jigsaw, these type of games. And I know stuff like this has been going on in like overseas. I'm just saying, I can only speak from a perspective of an American. And I'm just saying that over here, like nothing was really that way to where people were watching people suffer on a screen before Saw, in my opinion. I don't watch Hostel. I don't know when that came out, but I do feel like Saw was first. But I don't know about that. I just know that I watched Saw. I didn't watch Hostel. Can't watch Hostel. I'm not going to. But season 2 of Squid Game like opens up with 456 Jihan Stupid loser scum bum, by the way. Let me get this out the way real quick. Almost almost all of the cast that I can think of right now that are males on the cast have issues. And I do hope you do your own research. I'm not going to say everything and all that. All I know is the dude who made Squid Game, he was all talking about humble beginnings and all that, like, oh, I don't want them to take my thing. And then he saw the money and he was like, but it will, yeah, because he did it anyway. The front man, he was like, oh, even despite he cheating on his wife when she was pregnant and having a mistress and being horrible and being disgusting, he can still play this character. In my opinion, he looks like the Asian version of Hannibal Lecter from the TV show Hannibal. I did watch Hannibal. I thought it was good and grimy, just like I said, grim, freaking Sleepy Hollow, freaking Hannibal. It just turned terrible. I don't understand what that genre of story is, like that type of story that was so great and it was fantastic, and then it just pooped a scoop. People are acting like Game of Thrones is the first ever in history time where it just pooped a scoop. Almost every TV show that outlasts itself either is infinite and indefinite, like The Simpsons, or it will end and people will hate it. I don't think there was ever a time where people were like, that was a good ending. That was it. Because we are still on more Shrek movies. Mind you, we are still getting more Shrek movies. It's very interesting how people are like, oh, we want it to end, we want it to end, but you still keep buying the tickets. You still at your big age sitting there Adam Sandler style, like in that movie, 2 tickets to Shrek, please. You are still gonna go and watch it there. You're still gonna be a part of that demographic that went and at your big age of 30. I'm not age shaming anyone for watching something that may or may not be geared towards children. When I personally, in my opinion, think that if it's a sequel to anything that has already existed, it is for the people who watched the original. I really don't get this whole thing where people are like, oh, that's a kid show. That's a kid show. These kids don't know nothing about that. They don't know nothing about Shrek. They do not know nothing about Shrek but the memes, but the dank memes. They don't know nothing about Shrek. It's my generation that this is for. But I'm not going to gatekeep that either. What I will say is we're going to back this back up because, like I said, we are talking about Squid Game Season 2. And I really do believe that there's a lot to go on, and I really don't have that much time. I've got 50 minutes to figure this out and get it together. So, first episode is around the recruiter. Old dude is recruiting again. He's got the little bulldog, whatever those things are. It's like a square where it's either red or blue. And like I said, there's the red and blue. A lot of people were talking about, oh, it's kind of like Republican and Democrat. And it's just like, you can say that if you want to, but it's always been like the pink blue aesthetic with the red kind of coming in there because I guess it represents the blood of the game on the hands. Because people, they keep going back and forth talking about, oh, well, did you have to do this and that? There was a lot that he could have did differently. There was a lot that he could have did differently. So I really don't understand why we're playing this game again. That's why I even talked about freaking Saw, because imagine going in there, winning, getting the money, and only pinching off a little bit to do here and that and do this and that. And then hire ruffian, tuffian, buffian, gluffians that do diddly squat all day, but freaking stab people in the back. And you're going to trust these people with your whole entire soul, thinking that, oh, the world is a good place because um, old Il Nam sat there and died because he was like, oh, that man's going to die in the winter, in the cold. And he was like, oh, he didn't look out the window. And there's a lot that I have to say about Oh Il Nam. Ooh, Oh Il Nam. If you want to know my opinion about Oh Il Nam, I already said my piece. But I do believe this is gonna come from me. There's a lot of theories that I have that I do believe are confirmed with things that happen in the movie, it looks like a movie, but it's a TV show. Um, First of all, Oil Nam's son is the front man. That's what I believe. You could say you heard it from me first, but I know that maybe people have already got that. But the front man is Il Nam's son. With that in mind, He is literally watching people die on a daily basis, drinking bourbon or whiskey or whatever, fly me to the moon, watching people getting killed. He's fine with that. So I don't believe anybody who thinks that the front man was ever going to be on Jihan's side ever. Ever. Whether he knows that Oil was his father or not, he is a part of the games, nevertheless. And he is not a big kahuna in the sense that people think he is. Like, and I'll discuss it when I get to it if I have time. Like I said, I don't really have that much time. I should have did this earlier. But Cop Brother is with Jihan now all of a sudden after the first episode, but the first episode with the recruiter, he's playing games trying to recruit people. Everybody is trying to catch him because Jihan basically said, yeah, this is what's going on. He told people didn't listen. Cop Brother went to the island in season 1, saw his brother was the front man. They both shot each other in places that would not kill each other. He knew he was going to survive, and that's why he had the new sea cappy who is driving them, which I don't know why they even trust this sea cappy. Why would you trust anyone else? What they should have did was they should have knocked the sea cappy out and used his boat. And you could be like, oh, he's the only one who knows how to use this stuff. He's the only one that, I don't know. Like you had about 3 years or so, I'm going to say 3 years or so to get it together, to figure out how to do all these things, to figure out who was going to be loyal to you. And you just get this random sea cappy who is betraying you. Is wild to me. It makes zero logical sense. Jihan is the dumbest person in the universe. You won Squid Game the first time. You got all them you got all the monies, bruh. You got all them muns. All them yums. Got that yums. Got that bread. And you didn't become a VIP and go in there that way. I literally thought season 2 was going to be dedicated to Jihan becoming a VIP, experiencing the VIP experience, being indoctrinated, becoming the front man at the end of it all. And that would have made a lot more sense than what's happening right now the second. Him going back in the games, like I said, the moment I saw that he was going back in the games, I knew that we were donezos. We were donezos. That doesn't mean this season is horrible. I literally say, you cut Jihan out of this whole season, it would make zero difference. It would make zero difference. Take the parts where he's trying to help people and that whole conflict with people saying, oh my gosh, you knew and you didn't, and so that means you kill people. No, you idiot. No, you stupid loser, scrum bum idiot, piece of trash. No, that doesn't mean he killed people. That means he was the last one living. And you could say, yes, he did kill people at the end. His own hand, he had to kill the dude he knew from the outside, but he was killing everybody else. He did not care. He's responsible for Ali's death. He's responsible for that girl's death. He's responsible for a lot of people's deaths. And he did not care. So I really don't want to see nobody on no high horse talking about Jihan is just as bad as everybody else when he diddly. No, he's not. He just simply isn't. And you'll never convince me otherwise. That's why everybody who said that everybody was dumb in season 2, it's you. It's you. You are the people who would go into the Squid Game and then say one more game. That's you. The people who think that that's not going to ever happen, that would never happen, that that's not plausible. The only thing that is very questionable to why it even happened and doesn't make no sense is how Jihan thought he could go in there. They put a tracking device in his tooth to go into the games. After the recruiter, let's talk about the recruiter real quick in the first one, Bread and Lottery. He literally buys a bunch of bread because he's being tracked. And I do believe he did this thing just because he knew he was being tracked, because it seems like he knows that people are behind him, because there are literally 2 bums who are with this bootleg Suicide Squad trying to look for the people who are making the games, underground cover story situation, because the cops are covering it up. The cop brother who saw the front man was his brother from the same mother literally got demoted to like a traffic cop. And that's where he's at right now. No one took him seriously, and they did take him seriously. It was just the fact that people are like, yeah, we don't need you talking about this, so you're going somewhere else. It's over. And that's why these scrum bum diddlyums are these lower underlings that the Joker or the Penguin or Black Mask, maybe not Black Mask, because I think Black Mask actually hires people within. I don't think he just gets regular thugs. And that's so funny because I love Arkham games, all of the Arkham games except Knight and Arkham Begins or something. I can't remember what it's called, but I like Arkham Asylum and I like Arkham City or Arkham City. I think it's Arkham City. Um, all I know is there's a lot of stuff that goes on in there, and you should totally play that game. It's so cool. But let me get a drink real quick. So the recruiter goes to homeless people in a park, and he bought a bunch of lottery tickets and he bought a bunch of bread. So he gives each homeless person an option. And I don't know how many homeless people specifically, because they're every number and every color means something, but I can't remember. So literally, he gives each one a chance. And the fact that at least one person was seen to take the bread, his whole philosophy is just destroyed. It makes zero logical sense to me. But I guess that's why he dies, because it just shows that his philosophy doesn't make any sense. But I'm getting a little too ahead of myself. So he does that for a little bit, and then he takes the rest of the bread that they didn't get. And also, mind you, he gives them a coin to scratch the lottery ticket. It's a fail. It doesn't even win $1 back. It doesn't win diddly squat. Nothing is won. So he asks for the coin back. They can't even keep the coin. And that just, it makes so much sense. People who say that Squid Game isn't good right now, they wanted the same thing as last season. They didn't get that. They didn't get the exact same people. They didn't get the exact same characters. They didn't like it. There are no archetypes in which it just jumps from one person to another. There are certain foils, or there's certain representations of someone from the last season, but it is not a set in stone carbon copy that's a fake thing. And it's very funny and interesting because I think there was a mother and son on the Squid Game, real Squid Game, and all I'm gonna say is the Squid Game that actually existed, not that beast trash bargain bin Squid Game that I don't know what he's doing, loser bum scrub trash. Don't like Mr. Beast, never will. A woman won. A woman won. So this whole thing about Jihan being the one, a woman won the real Squid Game. A woman won the real all-time Squid Game. So I'm gonna just leave that there for y'all to just let it marinate. But let's go back to the regular story. He doesn't even let them keep the coin. He busts all the bread in their face on the ground. And there's so many of them. I don't know why they didn't just jump that fool. Jump that fool. He doesn't have a gun. At least they don't know he has a gun. At least they don't know he has a gun. So he captures the two guys who are tracking him, and he makes them play rock, paper, scissors -1, which I didn't understand until I literally saw a clip of him explaining it on Twitter, which, yeah, they did that on purpose because no one understood no one understood. I didn't understand it. I had to do that, and they only said it once, and like, but I understand it now. So the whole thing is you play rock, paper, scissors with two hands. So your best bet is to not do the same thing on both hands. Your best bet is to do something strong and something weak so that you can meet in the middle for whatever the other people will have. And I don't really understand how it works in the grand scheme of things, because it's like you're like rock, paper, scissors, shoot. You're always going to probably pick rock on one hand. But I don't know. All I know is those two guys play, and one of them ends up dying, and it's basically Russian roulette. He keeps adding bullets, playing games with their lives. He keeps one. Um, Ji-hun literally has to deal with the recruiter again. He's like, "This is insane. Why are y'all doing this?" And he's like, Psh, "I don't care." And he has a whole sad backstory. People are upset that he has a sad backstory. Everybody's got their sad backstory, and I think that's why everybody does have their sad backstory. It literally means something. It's one thing if it didn't mean anything, but it means something. So I don't think it's a fair criticism to say that him having a sad backstory is cheap. But what I will say is it would have been nice if he just said, I had two parents that loved me and I didn't have nothing wrong and I'm just like this. I don't mind having a few characters who are just like that. I'm fine with that. I really don't understand why the recruiter wasn't just that person. And they had to give him a story that was like that. I personally say I don't care that they did, but I do feel like it was a disservice to his character to let him get killed and then him have the story where he killed his own father or whatever. But I guess it shows that he's ruthless. It showed that he was ruthless when he took a lottery ticket and food in front of a homeless person who has no hope in their life. And they got a little bit of hope and he took it away and the coin. I think that's when they should have just said, there's not, he should have just said, there's nothing wrong with my life. I had a great life and I'm just like this. And so what? And then he could have blown his brains out like he did. But so he, Jihan meets the cop brother into the face and he's like, oh, actually, we met before, when he was like, oh, where's my brother, boy? He didn't say that. He just asked somebody's name specifically. So now he knows the brother's name. And Jihan does this whole finagling thing that ends up working somehow. He ends up finding the square or one of the pieces. There's square, circle, triangle. So let's just get this out the way. So circles are underlings. The squares basically are the mouthpieces. It's square, so it looks like a mouth. And the triangles are more likely to be the ones shooting. But we do see some squares shoot too. But the triangles are the ones who are the people actually killing people during the games. And some of them are picking up the dead bodies. And some of even fewer of them, even less of them, a small portion of them are taking some bodies who are not completely dead and harvesting them for organs. And I'm already angry because there is a pregnant girl who literally her number is 222 and I already know she's going to die and they're going to harvest the baby. I'm already angry. I'm already hostile. She's not going to be able to, if she does give birth and she doesn't die, she's going to be freaking used as an incubator. They're going to take the baby. She's already used as a plot. I'm so sick of women having to be baby boomer, baby popper outers and killed. And that's all they're useful for. And to be a liability. She's been a liability the entire game. She literally provides nothing except to make me think that she's going to give birth next to my favorite character and they're going to die. That's all she does. I'm so serious. You don't understand how nothing burger she is, except the fact that she has a baby father, like Cardi B would have said, but she's got a baby daddy who is a bum, who is a YouTuber, who had like these crypto coin things scam, and everybody lost their money, including the culture vulture Thanos. Literally 230. I liked his character. I really do feel like Jihan should have been cut out this season. I'm so serious. You don't understand. I feel like what should have happened was if he was going to be in this season, he should have been using that money he got, all that money, which is very funny. He didn't even consider being a VIP. He didn't even consider being a VIP. And don't give me that crap like he didn't know what a VIP was because he saw them when he was playing Squid Game against that dude he knew IRL. So, like, you just don't, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I have nothing to give you but ideas. I have nothing to offer but ideas. Old dude should have just went in as a VIP and called it a day because he works with the cop brother who he says, "Oh, you're going to have to quit your job if you're going to work with me," because he doesn't want surveillance basically. Because if he works for the police, he's either going to be compromised or without his knowledge, he's going to be compromised. Everybody basically quit their job to figure this out, which is another thing. This is another thing. It's so deep. All of the everything that happens in Squid Game is very deep and layered, and it's more psychological than I would say Alice in Borderland is. I would say in hindsight, if I don't remember exactly what I said about specifically, but I just told you that, man, Alice in Borderland was way better in my opinion. But this season makes it literally, the competing that's happening is amazing in my opinion. But Cop Brother is working with Jihan, number 456. He does this crazy whack job plan that works somehow, and he talks to the front man, and he's in his limo, and he's like, "Oh, so this is the place I was in before?" And he was like, "Okay, yeah, whatever." It's like, "Oh, it's so luxurious," and da 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 da. Basically, he's clocking that he's someone that's above the stature of everybody who's in the games. He's basically, "What you want from me, son?" You won the games. What you want? Enjoy your life. You should have gone on that airplane and saw your daughter. Boy, what you want for real? You either should have saw your daughter, given her all that money, given her all that money, given her. It's still is sitting on the bed. It looks like a bed because he's in a motel. I'm telling you right now, he is literally living in a motel. It's called the Pink Motel. Seediest seedy to ever seed, and it looks like a bed, but they call it a table. All the stuff's on there. He could have sent that to his daughter. It's literally doing diddly squat. He's like, "Oh, I want to use this to figure this out." But what he did was all he did was get back into the games. Was that thing that he put in his mouth? And also it shows when the guy who put the tracker in his mouth when he leaves from the perspective of someone outside, which by movie logic, someone is watching them. Someone is watching them. So now you already know that this whole scheme is already blown up out of it. He's already lost because they already know that he has a tracking in his tooth and which tooth it is because they're working, either they worked with him or they extracted it out some other way. But cop brother is like, all right, I'll work with you, and he's like, oh, I saw the front man, but I didn't see his face. Da, 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 da. And it's kind of like this whole theatrical irony like situation going on because old dude is trying to protect his brother, and he knows he's the front man because he saw his face and he saw the mask. He was asking him questions to see how much he knew about the front man, but he didn't know that that was the brother that he was looking for. So he's like, whew, thank goodness, because he thinks that Jihan is going to kill him, even though he could have just said, let's not kill him, please. He's my brother. And maybe he would have cared because this dude is so forgiving. You'd think after being betrayed by the first number one that Jihan would have been at least cautious. Old dude's not cautious under any circumstance. There was a moment where I thought he was going to be cautious and give this dude empty rounds, but he ended up giving him full rounds because he trusted him so much. It's so funny. It's not funny because I feel like my time was wasted. Because like I said, the only way that Jihan would have been able to fight the system was with the money. And he says that and does the exact opposite. He begs. First, he goes into the limo and then he tries to shoot the front man when he knows good and well that that's not going to work. And then he says, you know what, put me back in the games. And he's sitting there funny. He's laughing to himself because he already knows that he has a tracking device in his mouth. And once we get after the first couple of episodes or the first episode, you see that they took it out his mouth and left the fake tooth in there. So it's very comical that they are running around chasing after him and they end up finding the tooth thing in a bunch of garbage because it was left. Somebody purposefully took it from him and moved around. It's very funny. I can't. I can't. So Jihan is the dumbest person to ever walk this earth because not only does he trust everybody around him, and he just shows people, like he just shows this dude. Also, the dude that got tied up with the other guy to play rock, paper, scissors -1 is working with Jihan now. And he's like, oh, I'm going to make them play da 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 da. They'll rue the day they ever mess with me. You're just going to trust some guy you just met? Or you're going to trust some guy that, I don't know. I just feel like, why are you trusting everybody? He's trusting everybody. He gets back into the games. He gets back into the games. And the first game is red light, green light. And he tries to tell everybody how it works. And the funniest one, there are like several funny moments in this show. And people are saying, oh, I don't think they mean for it to be funny. Yes, they do. It's funny. You could laugh. It's a funny situation because after they realize that people are dying, everybody stands still because that is very reasonable to understand that people are going to either fight, flight, or freeze. And that was very comical because the last season, like I said, everybody wanted the same thing to happen. And it just simply won't, especially since this demographic of people look a lot younger. The first season looked like it was very middle class people with families, a little older than people with families. And now it's very young demographic. Just got out of high school. They make their own money. They live on their own like borderline teenagers. And to include a dude that Jihan knows outside of the game, I call him Baoon, because he is a coward who at every turn only looks after himself. He literally sees number 001, aka the front man, goes into the games. The front man goes into the games like his father, that I think theoretically his father. And he literally is sitting there watching Jihan literally getting off. I do believe he gets sexual pleasure from watching Jihan freaking just be stupid. I really do think that him just sitting there, like, yeah, this is gonna work. He's just sitting there salivating at the mouth, like wanting to bust all over everything because he sees Jihan be so dumb. Like, it's so funny to watch, especially when they were like tied to get together doing the six-legged race, having to do 5 games. Everyone had to do 5 games and they were all tied together. And he's just sitting there throwing it back. He threw it back. All I'm going to say is the front man threw it back. The front man threw it back. When the front man threw it back, I was done. I was like, man, this is crazy. Because no matter what, I think no matter if he just so happened to die, just like Ilnam, there was no way for Ilnam to know whether or not somebody was going to knock him over during red light, green light. But as we realize and notice, if people don't catch someone, the people, because now we see, here's a little side story that's going on. There's this girl who works at a bootleg Disney resort type of thing, because I've been to Disney World and they always be having these parades that go by with the people in the costumes. She works as a bunny, and no, not Oswald, the original, the OG, that's not Mickey Mouse. Oswald the rabbit was the OG. But she's pink and it represents the blood. So basically it's going to be crazy. Her number is 11, and also it shows that she, in order to be someone who is like a higher tier rank person, you have to know somebody, because she got that job because she knew someone. And it just goes to show, like, I'm telling you right now, every single thing in Squid Game, it all makes sense to a grander scheme of things. If you don't believe that, then you either have to watch it again or you're just not going to get it. And it's just not for you, boo. You can go watch something else. Because I'm telling you right now that it's very deep. It is very deep. And yes, it is that deep. Everything is that deep. And I did notice that the food seemed like it was a lot better this go round. They were getting eggs and freaking potato, raw potato. They got kimbap. And kimbap is good. I've had kimbap. But they gave them forks. So that came in handy. That came in handy for the special games. Super special games. 'Cause there was a special game and a super special game. Special game was the one that happened at nighttime. Boy, they were... Super game was when everybody was like, all right, all hands on deck. They tripping up in here. They need to get back in their place, bro. These worms need to get back in their hole and get back in the dirt. But we're gonna go on that. So there's this dude, his number is 388. He is a former Marine. He also kind of bonds with the dude that is Baoun, coward, 390, who eventually is no longer a coward, but he dies for it, which is very interesting. It's like he being a coward kept him alive for that long. And if he was a coward at the end, then he wouldn't have been killed. Because he was sitting next to Jihan when they were like, all right, get back to your place, scrub. Get back in the place. There's this girl who is 380. I knew she wasn't going to last because she was cool. And she was telling a dude, oh, you're not going to make it in here. Of course, they always have to humble the girl who is right. This scrub loser is not winning all the money. I'm telling you that right now. It's this scrub loser who watches her die. All he does is throw a freaking bottle and it doesn't help her do nothing. He doesn't even do anything. He just covers his ears and listens while she dies. Because you can still hear when you got the thing. I can still hear myself. Like, you can still hear something sometimes. He was hearing her die and screaming in agony. All because she had to be humbled, right? She told the guy he wasn't going to be worth nothing, nowhere, no how. And it's true. And he didn't like it. So that's the whole reason why I'm a little annoyed by her death. It's whatever. So there's a YouTuber, baby daddy of the girl 222, he's 333. So that's their connection. Same alliteration style. And he, like I said, he did some scam and everybody believed it. There's a lot of people who do scams and y'all believe it, but Anglo-Saxons, the Cox Mountain, y'all don't care. They're still making money off of your children, off of you, your bank account. Mr. Beast is still doing it. Like all these bums, y'all like Drake, what's that? Not Drake and Josh. Logan and Jake still doing it. KSI still doing it, and it's very funny because he's like, oh, he's over there in the UK, and there's a lot of denominations. There's a lot of hierarchy that goes into that, and I'm not going to talk about it. But next one is 246, which is the dad of the girl who passed out because she didn't get a lollipop. That's kind of a simplification of what's going on. She does have a terminally ill, like a terminal illness, but it only happened, like we saw it happen after she didn't get no lollipop because she wasn't in the costume and she was upset. And like if you want like to know what I'm talking about, you got to watch the show on Netflix. But like this is like quickest quick bit ever, but I'm running through it. I'm running through the six wood woes and I'm doing it well. So he goes into the games and people are saying he's not dead because 11 kept him alive. I don't think it was 11. I think that it might, people think it's 11, therefore I don't think it's going to be 11. You know what I mean? Like things that are obvious aren't too obvious. Like I think um Oil Nam's son is the front runner, and that's a little obvious kind of because he's in the position of power. But something like the gun being moved, it could have been anyone who wanted the organs to be harvested. It could have been her, and maybe that would make sense. But I do believe that it was just just a random dude who was like, okay, we're gonna harvest this dude's organs. That's what I think. But he literally is in the game because the girl needs surgery or whatever, and the dude's like, oh, I'm not gonna help you out. Like literally, we see a scene where the doctor tells the father, I ain't helping you out till you get that money, son. Get your bread up. So he went into the games for his daughter. And 11 spares him, even though it looks like he moved, but nobody else clocks that he should be eliminated at that moment. But he does eventually get eliminated because he was working with the rebellion. That happens because Jihan and the front runner, he's shooting people, he don't care. He don't cur. I'm just going to keep going. So let's talk about the culture vulture Thanos 230. He's a celebrity that everybody clocks as a celebrity. He's in there, but he also lost his money to cryptocurrency. He like invested all in it and he lost all his money. So he's like really angry at that 333 baby father, baby papa. But mind you, this YouTuber was ghosting 222, his the mother of his child. He did not want that baby until he saw people getting shot and killed in front of his eyes. Then he said, I want to make a family and then I could clear my debts. And she's like, nah, I'm gonna use that money to raise this child. You can clear your own debts. You bum, scrubdiddlyum. But that's basically where that's left. They clock that he's talking to a girl, and when Thanos actually bites the dust, it's very like informal. It's not, excuse me, like the very like he, if you want to say there are certain people who are kind of like similar. The snake dude who was in the first one, who had sex with the girl, and then they both died in the glass thing because he wasn't gonna move until like he didn't want to go next because everybody in front of him died. So he's like, I'm not moving. So he was just gonna let everybody die. She sacrificed herself so that everybody else could live. And if you want to say Thanos is kind of like him, in the sense that he was a disruptor. You could say that if you want to, but I feel like Thanos was such a far better character to watch. Unfortunately, it was after he had some sort of ecstasy that they let him keep because they knew that that was going to cause chaos. His friend, 124, I think his number was. he eventually inherits his it's funny because it's a what's it called? A cross filled with like ecstasy type stuff. And they say it's not ecstasy or whatever because when you make up a drug on TV, you can make that drug appear more often. Like Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad, no doubt everybody knows that it was meth. Everyone called it meth. It's meth. Okay? But they were able to show it more because it was blue. They made it look interesting. They made it look like, oh, this isn't that. That's not what that looks like. So him saying that it was something else, it makes sense because of how they want to make it look or whatever, so they can get away with putting it there all the time. The girl who they make us hate, that is barely there, who Thanos has a crush on, and we're supposed to feel bad for Thanos because she doesn't like him when people don't have to like you just because you like them. Plain and simple. Your mother never told you this because this is exclusively for men. Because women have to hear no and just go about their life. They don't take people down the road of degradation with them. They hear no and they move the freak on. Guys, they are freaking lighting people on fire. They are punching people. They are doing harm to people who they hear no from. That's why when people say, oh, just don't give him your number, don't entertain, like it's hard to not when the other alternative is being assaulted. So she just acted like, okay, whatever. I don't care. But she did flirt with the cop in the beginning of the show. So that's the only thing we get from this girl is guys are supposed to hate her because she had a boyfriend that she was with and she was flirting with the cop that I really thought she was only doing so that they didn't have to get the ticket. And it didn't work. So it's like, okay. So now not only does she look stupid, but she's chasing after her boyfriend on the moped that he just drove off in because he's like, oh, have your boyfriend do it when he's the one that didn't have a helmet on. But she dies in red light, green light because of a bee being on her. First one to die. So there is a mother son duo that is very funny because I do believe there was a mother son duo in the Squid Game that happened. That was the real Squid Game that nobody died in, as far as I'm concerned. They still said that there were issues like, oh, it was so cold, oh, this, that, and the other. And the mother is 149 and the son is 007. The thing that is very annoying to me is the fact that when there is a vote, there's a new voting system, by the way. Before it was you vote, you stay in, you're in, that's it. No voting, no more voting. You leave, you get no money. The money goes to the people's dead relatives, which is very funny because the beginning of both of the games, it shows, oh, the anonymity, and not the anonymous nature of the game, anonymity. I think that one's it. So I'm not going to say it again. So they make it seem like everybody is safe, but they know who you are. They know your debts. They know the dollar and cent of your debts. How is that equal? The people who have masks on know you. They know your family. So how is that equal? Because they question in both times, why do you have a mask and we have to show our faces? And they're like, oh, it's to show us to make sure everybody is fair. How is that fair though? You know their dollar and cents of their debts. You know their families to know that you can give them the money of the people who died. Anyway, the new one shows that they get a vote after every game and they keep losing to people who want to just have one more game. And that's going to keep happening, which I think that's the whole reason why they only had one vote because the people who run the games know human nature and they're like, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. So they're like, let's just let them vote. But we don't know what happened in the very beginning, the very first games ever, and um, number 001 frontman's game, because he won in 2015. So I personally feel like the next season will open up on his games. And that's a theory, another theory that I have, that the Jack and Jill game might not be the game that they might be playing that next, but that's not the game that we see in the beginning, or the like the like the trailer that we have for the next season, season 3. And then there's Spineless, like I said, 125, watch old girl die with the piercings. 380, I can't stand him. He makes me sick. He needs to die. Thanos' friend, 124, like I said, he inherited his necklace of ecstasy, not ecstasy. And a lot of people were upset. I think it's very funny how they're either not allowing Thanos's actor who was in Big Bang, T.O.P. I think his name is, his real name, or his band name or whatever. They will not allow him, or he is not going on the tours for promotion of the TV show, because he has allegedly had cannabis. And it gets better also, because he may or may not have overdosed on drugs, medication, unknown medication, and people are upset that he's playing a character that has drugs and does illicit drugs or whatever. I don't care about that specifically. It's very funny how people are shaming him and finger wagging at this person. We've got bigger fish to fry. And literally, the fact that you could say he is a culture vulture, he could go in that qualification, he could go in that column right there. We got bigger fish to fry. There are at least 3 men on the cast list who has either assaulted or harmed women, and y'all are upset that this dude is harming himself. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Like, we can call him a culture vulture. We can discuss that in a little while. We can discuss that later. I discuss that every day of my life. But I just don't understand how you guys are going to shame this dude for not even the culture vulture stuff. Barely seen anyone clock that. Barely seen anyone talk about that, because they won't. They won't. They'll just talk about how, oh, you're darkening this color of someone that's in a manga. I can't stand you. What if someone did that? You've been doing that for years. That happens constantly. If there is a dark skinned character, they either look like a caricature back from Jim Crow, or you lighten their skin, or you cut them out of the manga or cut out their parts entirely. So I'm not arguing with you about that. What I am so confused about is how people are going to say that it's a lot worse to harm yourself with drugs, if that is the thing that's going on allegedly. It is more harmful to do that and then play a character who does drugs than be Ji-hun and have what he's done, be the front man, and not have the dude who made Squid Game rationalize, literally out of his own mouth, with his own lips moving, with his teeth moving as well, rationalize allowing a man who cheated on his wife while she was pregnant and had mistresses and just did all types of nonsense to remain as a character in the show just solely because you want him there. But Thanos, for some reason, is either not allowed to be on tour with them, side by side with abusers and losers, because he may or may not have overdosed or had cannabis. That's wild to me. Where are our values as human beings on this earth? Some of you guys need to go out into the woods and just live with the animals. I am so serious, not even joking. You need to go out in the woods and fare better with tigers, lions, and birds, oh my, than human beings. You do not belong in society. if you think that because someone did cannabis may or may not have overdosed is worse than someone who assaulted a woman, or worse than cheating on your wife while she's pregnant. She is coming into this earth. She is bringing someone into this earth with your DNA up in there, ruining her body for life. She could lose her teeth. You can lose your teeth when you're pregnant because the calcium is being siphoned from your body from this this parasite you put in her, and the least you can do is not sleep with people while she's pregnant. That's the least you can do. It's wild to me. It's wild. But Thanos is the one everyone's talking about should be ashamed. I just don't get that. I'll never get that. You will never get me to get that. And that's why I would be putting the X if I even step foot in Squid Game. And it would have to be a soft style because I'm not going in Squid Game. So we have someone who is, I thought was trans, but I thought they looked familiar. They are in a show that I did discuss that I should have put in the description. I'll think about putting it in the description, but if not, you can go on my channel and look up The Glory. I literally did a quick bit on that. It's a very good K-drama. I do believe it's a K-drama. And old dude who was in there, I do believe he was the colorblind guy who I think died. Spoiler. He is playing a trans character who was a part of the special forces. They were kicked out because they are trans. Their number is 120. I love that queen. I will say, I thought it was funny until I realized what the actual explicit film was about. So this actor posted on his Instagram a picture of the explicit version of Squid Game called Squirt Game. And at first I thought it was hilarious. I was like, that is so funny. Like you are a part of that and then you do that and then you go away. That's funny. Until I learned that the actual videos are very like they're not good. There's very tasteful explicit videos and poor taste explicit videos, and it falls very much so on the poor taste hand, unfortunately. And what I will say about it is it's just very violent towards women, when it's very interesting because not just women play Squid Game. And if you really wanted to get down to the nitty gritty and if you wanted to treat people equally, it would be not just women being, but it would be men too. But it was horrible. It's not funny. And um maybe he didn't know or watched it, or someone sent it to him and he thought it was cool. I don't know the extent, but he knew it was not cool because he took it down very quickly. It wasn't like it was there for a whole entire week. He put it up and took it down. And it was just in the nick of time for everyone to get a screenshot anyway. So it was really pointless to take it down. He should have kept it up. He should have stood on it 10 toes. I'm running out of time. I literally have only a few minutes left. So we're going to get right through this. Um, Number 100 is annoying. He's this old geezer who keeps talking about one more game, and he's like the leader of the O's. And the O's are the people who want to keep playing the game. They are blue. There's always been a blue, red, blue, pink motif, and that hasn't changed. It's kind of been green, red, blue, red, pink, kind of just the way it looks on the screen, okay? And Jihan is one of the X's, which are red. And a lot of people are saying that that's Republican and Democrat. And I really think that they need to just not, because I really don't think that that's what they're trying to go for. I really think it's the pink motif, but it goes into red because of the blood, and the blue-green motif. And it's not Christmas time. So it's not, just because those two colors have been associated for other things doesn't mean it falls under that category or that's what they mean. But I do understand why people would think that. And I do understand that people were like, when they said one more game, it's like one more year. Like, I completely get that part. I completely get that. And then there's 044, who I wanted to like because she seemed like a fortune teller, but she's also a cultist who said she wanted people to die. So all she had to do was not press the O, and she's getting real annoying, and she's got followers, and I can't stand her. So yeah. The front man went in there, they did a rebellion, and it didn't work. So that was horrible. That was great. So yeah, that's where it ended. And people are upset because it was 7 episodes. I already knew it was going to be on a cliffhanger when I saw it was 7 episodes, that we were only going to get 7 episodes, like legitimately. Like we didn't get anything else. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then there's the trailer. That's it. That's all we got. And it's very comical to me that people didn't expect this. You guys demanded them bring it out, and they didn't bring out something that was completed because you were demanding it be here. All I know is I didn't really talk much about the girl who is the sniper. There is a hierarchy within the circle, square, triangle people. And the triangle people seem like they're a lot more important than the circle people. And the square people are the people who talk, for the most part. But this girl is dealing with a lot because she's killing people that the people are trying to keep alive so they can harvest their organs. Don't know if they're alive when that happens or not, but they are alive so the organs can not die out and whatnot, and they can have them and they're fresh. And she keeps killing people instead of letting them live and get harvested. So she gets accosted and threatened with rape and assault if she doesn't stop doing her job that she was told to do. I'm so sick of I'm so sick of this. I hope he dies. I'm so serious. I hope she kills him. I really have nothing else much to say. That's it for the most part. I will say, if I had to, I feel like I can't even give it a rating because it's not a complete story. Like the first one was from beginning to end, and that was it. I can't even say that I can give this one a rating. So I'm gonna wait until the second part, which I don't know if it's gonna be called Squid Game Season 3, because that's what they're saying. They're calling it Season 3 when it should be Part 2 of Season 1. But let me know what you think about it. Let me know what you think about Alice in Borderland. I really do have to go. I don't have enough time to talk about Bob Tarts. I'll probably have to do another live for that one. I may cut this one up and make it a video. I may unlist it for a little bit just so I can edit it, but I'm done. Hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you like, share if you like. Let me know what you thought about Squid Game Season 2, Squid Game Season 1, Alice in Borderland 1 and 2. I do believe that Squid Game Season 2 was really good, really thought out. I don't know why Jihan didn't just become a VIP with all that money. You scrub, you bum, you dum-dum. You deserve to get shot in the back by 001, the front man, because he literally sat there and salivated at the mouth at watching how stupid you were. And when he threw it back, that's when I was done with him. And if you don't believe me that he doesn't throw it back, watch the show yourself. Please, I implore you. I really do like that we're getting more of the story of the pink people, but I don't think we spent enough time with their group to understand the hierarchy. But I understand it a lot more than I did in the first season. I think the next season should probably go more into it. And like I said, it would have been fantastic if Jihan was not in the games. Like, it just makes no logical sense why he's in the games. He should have been a VIP, and the front man should have been like looking at him from like that point because he can't do nothing. The VIP people were higher than the front man. The front man was like looking at them, and they didn't want nothing to do with the front man. They're wealthy. So it just showed the hierarchy. I'm done. There's no reason why Jihan should be in the games. Everyone says that. Literally, nobody thinks that that was cool or cute. Don't know why he was the main character of this. If he wasn't going to be a VIP, he shouldn't have been in the season. He should not have been in the season. Simple. Everything. If he plucked out, took him out and replaced him with just a random bum. I feel like if you could have took any number of the characters that the people were following and let them go into the games. or you could have had the cop do it. But they already saw, oh yeah, they already saw him. He couldn't have done it. So if anything, it could have been the guy who played rock paper scissors. I don't know. I just feel like someone else could have been 256, and one could have still been the front man. He still could have been the front man. But Jihan doing this whole let's take their guns and stuff, he already knew what was going to happen because the front man told them. When I saw that they had the radios, I knew the front man was going to use it to talk to them. I never thought he was on Jihan's side. Never. Anyone who did, you're probably more likely to be enlisted in a cult. And I'm done talking about this.